have read Alongside Night? Okay, how many of you do not have copies of Alongside Night? How many of you do not have the 30th anniversary edition of Alongside Night? Okay, let's just start by, this is Oprah, and you get a book, 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 and you get a book. So let's just start, come on up.
I'll take that deal, Neil.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I've got the hardcover.
I had just started the PDF and I didn't get a chance to finish it.
Well, this is reminding me right now, and it's going to sound overblown rhetoric and egotistical and megalomaniac and all of that sort of stuff. In 1976, I went to the World Science Fiction Convention in Mid-Americon in Kansas City. And running around that convention was a guy wearing sort of like a white, I guess you'd call it martial arts suit or something like that. And some sort of weird, sort of fake-looking sword that nobody knew what it was. That was Mark Hamill promoting Star Wars, which nobody had ever heard of yet. And Charlie Lippincott from Fox Publicity was there, and he gave his slideshow presentation on it. And Jerry Purnell was making fun of it. What's a Death Star? The Death Star? It's some sort of star? Because nobody knew what Star Wars was. And a year later, everybody knew what Star Wars was. Okay, well, you're sort of in that situation right now. Because I'm not only Mark Hamill running around with the lightsaber and the Jedi suit that nobody's ever seen yet, but I'm also Charlie Lippincott giving a presentation for a movie that nobody has seen yet. And I expect that a year from now, next year's Libertopia, a lot more people are going to know about Alongside Night because we are making the coolest movie ever. Okay, this is not V for Vendetta, where the word anarchy is used once negatively. Okay, where they totally betrayed the premise of the original graphic novel source material. Okay, this is J. Neil Schulman, who in his 20s wrote the novel. And then grew up to learn a whole bunch of new skill sets, including script writing for The Twilight Zone. I wrote the Profile in Silver episode where a time traveler goes back to '63 and stops the JFK assassination. J. Neil Schulman, who already made his first feature film, who learned the skill set. And believe me, it's learning a lot of skill sets to write, produce, and direct a movie. And that movie was Lady Magdalene's, starring Nichelle Nichols, the original of her from the first Star Trek. And that movie, it didn't make me my money back. It's also gotten a lot of flack from the trolls on IMDb. But it's won 3 film festival awards. It won right here in San Diego in its premiere on Ayn Rand's birthday in 2008, February 2nd, 2008. It won the San Diego Black Film Festival's award for Best Cutting Edge Film. That was our first, real showing. And then at a later showing at Universal City at a film festival called the Cinema City International Film Festival, we won Audience Choice. And then a year ago last summer at Freedom Fest, at the Anthem Film Festival, we walked away with the special jury prize for Libertarian Ideals. Okay, this for a movie which, on the surface of it, seems to be about a federal agent, who's the hero of the thing, but it's so subversive because it's written by J. Neil Schulman. You actually have to see the movie to realize how subversive this movie is. And, a lot of people just weren't getting it. Neil is some sort of neocon, it's about fighting Al-Qaeda, and Osama bin Laden and all that sort of thing, and the Arabs are the bad guy. Not if you look at it really closely, okay? Anyway, I'm not here to talk about that movie, but the point is that I learned how to make movies by, how to make a feature film by knowing what I did right and knowing what I did wrong on my first feature, Lady Magdalene's. And Kent, who's sitting in the back there, and we edited the movie, and we edited it 14 times to correct the deficits, because I didn't know what I was missing while I was shooting it. Well, look, this is a different situation now, okay? I'm the guy who wrote the novel, okay? I wrote my first draft of the screenplay in 1978, a year before the novel was first published in hardcover in Crown. And I've been thinking about this movie ever since, from 1978 to the current day. And I have made one major shift from the novel, and that is the action in the novel takes place in New York City, and I've changed the timeline a little bit, and so New York City has now undergone, all sorts of crises. It makes it more like Detroit is today, a city in total collapse. It's really unlivable. And so the Vreeland family has moved to Las Vegas. So now the action alongside night takes place in Las Vegas. But the difference is, when I wrote all of this in the 1970s, all of this was economic speculation. It was called science fiction. Milton Friedman himself, in his endorsement, he called it science fiction. It's not science fiction anymore today. Any of you hear Doug Casey's presentation last night? He thinks we're only a couple of years away from the crisis which I'm portraying in Alongside Night. The difference is, why am I not pessimistic, is that I don't think that you have to go offshore to Chile or New Zealand or anything like that in order to accomplish the goals of survival. The whole idea of Alongside Night, even more than Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged, where in which the heroes have their little Valhalla off in Gulch or something like that, and only a few of the elite have a community, and the rest of the world is going to hell. All the billions are going down the toilet, and you've got just this these few supermen. No, Alongside Night, the idea was always to promote the idea of agorism, that the market is available to anybody if you simply make it stable enough and law and order enough that capital will flow to it, because capital flows from unstable situations to stable situations. Capital goes to situations where you're not being overregulated. Capital flows to situations where you can make a profit, where you can protect yourself, where you can provide for people. Okay, that's where capital flows to. The entire idea of agorism is to take the chaotic, tyrannical, unpredictable, brutal, statist economy in which everything is rigged, where it's a rigged game, where you can't win, you can't break even, you can't get out of the game. Only the idea of agorism is, yes, you can get out of the game. And you can create stable underground markets that can protect themselves, that can settle disputes peacefully, that can be a haven for people, not only with people for our values, but people simply with the values to survive and thrive. Okay? That we can create those markets and we can protect them in such a way that the state is helpless, because they're just not smart enough, they're not good enough, and they've got their own problems with their internecine internal fighting, with all their different factions, trying to one-up each other in dog-eat-dog games, because they're still playing negative-sum games while we're playing positive-sum games, that we can do that. That was the idea that Sam Conkin and I had when we first started talking about counter-economics in 1974 and 1975 at two conferences on counter-economics called CounterCon, which I organized in 74 and 75, and that's the idea now. So, Alongside Night in 1979 was a novel. Alongside Night in 2012 is a movie which is currently in production. We are financed enough to get this movie made. With today's technology, with the efficiencies and the cameras today, which are so easy to light for, and not having to spend 4 hours in lighting setups and then move these bulky cameras every time you want to do a close-up. I mean, that's the reason why movies take so long to shoot. It's all the time in between, where you've got the crew, setting everything up. Okay, we did a day of shooting in which all the setups that should have taken 3 days, we did in 4 hours. Okay, the cameras today just make it so easy. The digital microphones today are just so good. Technology is working to take the barriers that you need really to have studio level financing. Okay, all those barriers are gone. What we're able to do today with the equivalent of an iPhone camera is amazing. An iPhone camera will shoot HD video, full high definition quality video. Almost any camera today will do that. Okay, and that's really what we're shooting for. Okay, that's our end is to get something that we can assemble and put together and make a movie. And what do you need for that? You need a director with an eye for performance, and I think I've got that. I've developed that over the years. You need actors who can really act, who can take the script and interpret and understand it. And I'll tell you, we had casting sessions in which I ran into actors who were so enthusiastic about this project. I'm just so proud that the dialogue works for them, that it plays, that they're able to bring power and strength to it. And the actors who we cast in a session this past Monday are just blowing me out of the water how good they are. They're not names you've ever heard of. Okay? The actor who's playing Elliot, the actress who's playing Lorimer, our actress who's playing Denise, our Philip, These are just wonderful young actors just starting out their careers, and this is going to be a big part of making it go forward for them. And after Alongside Night, they're going to be in demand that except for friendship, I probably won't be able to hire them for my next movie because their price will go up. But what movie making about today is not bringing to bear massive amounts of money. It's about bringing to bear massive amounts of talent. Okay, and I am gifted from a lot of people who I met during my first production, who I'm going to be bringing over to work on the new movie. But also, I'm meeting all sorts of people with hardcore libertarian values who have been begging to be in this movie, and I auditioned them, and some of them that were so good, I was able to give them jobs. So I feel very, very lucky in how this production is shaping up, and what we're looking at right now is being on set. I would like to have 10 days shooting before Thanksgiving. That's what I'm aiming for right now, because I'm back on set with Kevin Sorbo the week of December 3rd. Okay, that's the week that we're intending to shoot scenes with Kevin Sorbo, our star. And again, because of the efficiencies, what normally would have been 20 to 25 days with Kevin, I've told him I can do in 4 to 5 days. And that's not blowing smoke. We can really do it because, again, the new technology, the new cameras, are so easy to light. Okay, are so easy to get good sound, are so easy to change setups in between shots that, again, we can do in 4 hours what it used to take 2 to 3 days to do, and we don't have to have our actors sitting around in their trailers waiting to be called. Okay, that means that probably in somewhere between 15, I can't pin it down more than 15 to 25 shooting days, we're going to be able to shoot a movie that normally in the old days would have taken 60 to 75 shooting days. Okay, and with no deficit quality. Okay, because when you're dealing with actors who know what they're doing, you block them and you shoot them. That's it. You give them the opportunity to do the job which they've been training their lives for. Okay, and the performances which I'm seeing already in the auditions, with, where I have actors, I didn't give them sides. I said, here's the script. You choose what you want to show. And so they showed me various different scenes from the script, and I'm telling you, this was my first opportunity to see how dialogue, which I wrote on the script, how it would play live, and it plays. Okay, I mean, I'm getting nuances out of this I didn't know were possible, and it makes me so happy because I know that when we get on the shooting set and finally shoot this stuff, we're just going to be kick-ass. Now, we have cut an advanced trailer, and I'm going to show it to you now.
This killer inflation today is a direct result of the double whammy of overextending our foreign military obligations in 8 different war zones and unlimited domestic bailouts for any institution, company, or individual suffering financial reverses. Now, despite the highest taxes in U.S. history, the government can no longer raise enough funds to pay for Social Security, veteran services, public education, or health care. With a few lucky exceptions, our major cities have become war zones, ravaged by food riots, arson, and terrorism. Our rates of unemployment and homelessness have never been worse in the Second Great Depression. Once the U.S. federal government began paying off foreign creditors, with funds the Federal Reserve Bank created out of nothing, our economic securities and civil liberties were both doomed.
Now, the unusual thing about that trailer is It was cut with only a one-day shoot of Kevin. But all of that other stuff you saw with the other actors was simply our executive producer, Austin Peterson at Stonegate Productions. He basically brought in not even actors, just models to just do that other stuff. Those aren't the actual actors that are going to be in the movie. Just to give a flavor of what we're trying to do. And I think that, Austin put together a kick-ass teaser. Okay. Before we do anything else, let me show you the brand new music. Well, actually, I'm going to make one announcement. I had announced on Facebook, we had an Alongside Night graphic novel contest that I was going to announce at Libertopia, who the winner of that contest is to produce the Alongside Night graphic novel, which is going to be released with the movie. And the winner of that is a man named David Fott, a very talented graphic artist. He's just super enthused to have the opportunity to produce the graphic novel associated with the novel and the movie. And Joshua may have fit the Battle of Jericho, but David fought the state, and the state lost. So congratulations to David Fott, winner of the Alongside Night graphic novel contest. Now, let's play the music video. Yeah. So as you can see, we've been busy putting together some media to just start, the buzz going on this. And it's funny because I just so much want to show more and more of to everybody I mean, I was thinking, should I show Cameron Radis is the actor who's going to be playing Elliot. He just did such a kick-ass audition. I was thinking, should I show it? Well, he didn't really, intend it to be something to be shown in public. But I mean, I'm just so blown away by the quality of performance. So I'm basically just antsy right now to get back on set and shoot these scenes. And we've got some really exciting scenes to shoot. We're going to be doing there's a scene in the novel which was translated to the movie, and which is going to be a Martian rally, which is an anti-Fed, anti-war debt rally, in which Elliot stumbles into, Elliot, the teenage main character, and he's almost captured by FEMA. And we're going to put on a real rally in Las Vegas to film this. And Angela Keaton told me at last year's Libertopia she's going to get antiwar.com people to come out. And right now, if they would ever get off their duffs and trying to get, Campaign for Liberty and Young Americans for Liberty and Students for Liberty. I mean, the problem is nobody has seen the movie yet, so they don't know they're supposed to be excited. They don't know that this is going to be much more exciting than any election that they've ever participated in. Okay? They don't know that yet because I haven't seen it. And that's the problem that I have, is that I need them now, and I need them to be excited now, and it's only later that they're going to be excited when they see the thing. And it's like, well, why weren't we excited back then? It's because I don't have a time machine to show it to you yet. I can't show you the movie before I make it. So we're just trying to take these bits and pieces of the song and what we shot, one day with Kevin giving that wonderful, speech, from the novel and the script. I mean, that's pretty much the same speech he gives in the novel. Okay, that speech which you just saw him give, in the teaser trailer, is something I wrote back in the 70s. I changed a few things, I updated a few things, but it's pretty much the same. You'll find it in the novel. This killer inflation today, because, again, we're dealing here with fundamental principles, and, just like Doug Casey was talking about, I studied previous hyperinflation in France during the French Revolution, during the American Revolution, and in Weimar, Germany, and in Chile, and all these, I've done my homework. I'm one of you guys. Okay, I'm the guy who has read all of the same libertarian books that you've read. Human Action and Power and Market by Murray Rothbard, For a New Liberty, and The Market for Liberty by the Tannehills, and Rational Anarchy by Richard Bernstein Perkins, and Lysander Spooner, and this was mother's milk to me. I first read, Atlas Shrugged when I was 18, but years before that I'd been reading Robert Heinlein and Robert Heinlein and Robert Heinlein. The Moon is a Harsh Mistress, and if this goes on with underground libertarian revolution, so I'm steeped in this stuff, and to have one of you guys being made, making a movie, having spent a lifetime developing the dozens and dozens of skill sets. I mean, let's look at Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand wrote the novel Atlas Shrugged, but she never tried to write, finance, and direct it herself. Okay. By the way, one of our financiers and product placement guys, Paul Rosenberg, sitting right there. Paul's company, Crypto Hippie, is that how you like to refer to it? Crypto Hippie is a major product placement in the movie, and so whenever you see a news logo, it's being sent over an encrypted Crypto Hippie darknet system, and that's the way that you're able to have free news in this totalitarian society, because it's going through the Crypto Hippie darknet. So I mean, that's just another thing. One of our major financier, Pat Heller of Liberty Coin Service, is making up one Liberty Gold coins, which first of all, Elliot Vreeland is carrying around in his, that's the product placement, but then he's turning it around and he's going to be selling these coins with that face on one side and the alongside night thing on the other side as movie tie-in merchandise. So you'll be able to buy alongside night gold coins. And then he's also going to be making them in, in other different cheaper metals, so you can have, various different, movie merchandise sets. But this is, again, financing a movie through a combination of product placement and merchandising. Good to hear. Good. All right, let's open it up for Q&A. Any questions? Yes. Could you state your name and talk loud?
Jerry Dixon. What does the title mean?
Alongside Night. It's sort of poetic. In other words, what I had in my mind was sort of like a picture of the Earth with the Terminator, where it's light on one side and dark on the other side, and we are alongside night. We're sitting on the Terminator, and you really don't know whether you're going into the light or you're going into the dark. Yes?
Yeah, I'd like to say two things. For one thing, I totally agree with you that making a film that communicates these ideas to the public is far more important than any election. You're totally correct. And two is, I love that line. Only an anarchist can restore order. That is killer. That was a good marketing. That is going to be big.
Well, that line isn't actually mine. You could thank Austin Peterson for that line.
Well, it works great as a tagline for the film.
Yes. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Austin. You know, I mean, we've got a great group of producers come together. Austin Peterson was a producer for the Fox Business Channel for Freedom Watch with Judge Napolitano. So that's where he comes to us from. And currently, he's working over at Freedomworks, you know, which is coordinating very. I mean, unfortunately, they're still in Wisconsin in the election and that sort of thing. But Austin keeps on emailing me, Neil, I can't wait for this damn election to be over so I can come to Las Vegas and work on the picture. So yeah. Anybody else?
Do you have an estimated month as to when it'll be out?
When it'll be out?
Yeah.
I'm aiming to have what I call a film festival cut by July. I mean, I don't know that I'm thinking that we're going to premiere it at Freedom Fest. You know, it's too soon to say. You know, the Scousins will have to look at the movie and decide whether they want to play it. You know, because again, nobody wants to make commitments based on a movie that they haven't seen yet. But we already have interest from a distributor. I can't say who yet because I haven't signed the paperwork. But we have a major distributor. And I think Alongside Night is not just going to play well domestically. I think it's going to play well overseas. And let me tell you why. Okay, you have a lot of the stuff happening now in Greece and Spain. You know, everything which I have in the novel is happening. The crisis. I said that Europe was going to have its crisis first, and I was calling it the Euro franc in the novel. But you know, the whole point was that the European economy goes first. So when the United States starts to teeter topple, Europe is already on its recovery, and the reason why it's on its way to recovery is Dr. Martin Vreeland, who wins his Nobel Prize in economics for it, gets the European Union to go on a gold-backed currency, which I have changed the name in the movie from the euro to the euro, A-U-R-O instead of E-U-R-O. Okay, and you know, we've got just so much fun dialogue, where where you try to buy a hot dog, and you know, you offer, and the guy is being offered NASCAR tickets and barter for a hot dog or something. He says, comedy stores that way, Vendis, Femas, Emiratis, Yuan, or Oros, and that's sort of like a running gag throughout the movie. Vendis, Femas, Emiratis, Yuan, or Oros, because people are not going to be, Oh, and I have an early scene in it in which somebody's wallet opens up and $100 bills fly out, and it's windy and it blows up against a woman's skirt, and she looks down and just brushes it off as scrap paper. Okay, so I mean, all of the stuff which you read in theoretical books and you've been hearing in libertarian conferences and all of this theoretical, weighty academic stuff is being put forward in fun, graphics. I mean, I have Elliot Vreeland give a classroom presentation in the beginning of this called "Economics in 1 Minute," and the whole thing is put together from pop culture. Okay, and we're just having fun with it, and there's going to be just a ton of inside libertarian jokes. Okay, and I will give away one. Okay, we're almost done. Okay, so this will be the last thing. In the beginning of it, we have Dr. Vreeland in the presentation where he's getting his Nobel Prize in economics. And, he's standing there with his long tails and everything like that. The guy who's going to be giving him his Nobel Prize in economics is going to be David Friedman. And the Nobel Prize which he's going to be given for the movie is Milton Friedman's Nobel Prize.
That's great.
Okay. Thank you very much. And we're in break now. Anybody who wants me to sign, just come up here and